And I'm back. What's up, Doodligans? I'm back. I'm going to do some writing this afternoon. Listen, people said I had low energy this morning. That's what I was told. It's the weather, man. The weather's bumming me out a little bit. Can't hit the gym, can't go for a run, can't do any exercise. Just chair kegels as I speak to you. Listen, I'm going to be doing another couple chapters of Adverse Effects. I hope you guys enjoyed this morning's edition. We got about 5,000 words done. We're gonna crank out another 5,000 here. We're getting into deep into Adverse Effects. Hope y'all are enjoying it. Let's get at it. Let's get at it. All right, we left off. We had oh, why is it chapter 32 twice? Arrgh. So I need you guys to tell me I'm doing something stupid like that. Where we left off, we had our favorite character, our absolute favorite character, Dr. Karen Nordmeyer. And she's back. She's the ME. Dude, she fucking sucks. I want Beckett back. We got to start a petition. We got to petition. That's what we need right there. Bring back Beckett. Who's in charge of this anyways? Who's in charge of this? All right, we're going to do a couple more chapters right now. Nordmeyer said that there's something wrong with their hair. It's white. Not that it's dyed on top of being white. And that doesn't really make sense because these girls are young girls. 16, 17, something like that. So we got to figure that all out. That whole mess out. Chapter 34, new paragraph. Chapter 34, new paragraph. Open quote. Even though Dr. Nordmeyer had explained numerous times what she meant, Chase was still at a loss for understanding how this could have happened. Period. New paragraph. Nothing she said seemed to bring any light to the situation. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. What kind of drugs could make someone's hair go white? Question mark. Close quote. Chase asked, racking her own brain based on her personal experience and the stuff that she learned as a narc back in Seattle. Period. New paragraph. She knew that compounds such as meth and heroin would accelerate the aging process, make someone look 70 when they're only in fact 40, but this was normally accompanied with rotting teeth, sagging skin, emaciated body type, and hair that could be gray, but most of the time just fell out in clumps. Period. New paragraph. Nothing she knew could make you An otherwise healthy-looking 18-year-old's hair turned completely stark white, period, into paragraph. Open quote. That's the thing, comma, close quote. Dr. Nordmeyer began, period, open quote. This can happen, comma, but it's extremely rare. Period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. But what drugs, comma, Karen, question mark, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Mostly anti-cancer drugs, period. The monoclonal antibodies can sometimes react with the pigmentation in the hair, period. Close quote, into paragraph. Chase looked to Dunbar, who appeared as stupefied as she felt, period, into paragraph, open quote. Anti-cancer drugs, question mark, close quote. Her eyes naturally drifted over to Sky Derringer's corpse, period, into paragraph. Open quote. All of them? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. All of the girls, comma, close quote, Dr. Nordmeyer confirmed, period, open quote. All of them had this lack of pigmentation in their hair that they dyed blonde to make it look normal, period. Close quote, into paragraph. Open quote. Did they have cancer? Question mark, close quote. Floyd asked, period. Chase looked at her partner next, comma, and he quickly averted his eyes, comma, embarrassed by the question, period, into paragraph. He shouldn't have been, comma, however, semicolon. It was the very question that was in all of their minds, as silly as it sounded, period, into paragraph, open quote. I found no gross indication that they were suffering from any sort of malignancy, comma, close quote, Dr. Nordmeyer replied, comma, her tone reverting back to that professional speak of which Chase loathed, period, open quote. But we don't really test for that in suicide cases, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Could that be why they all committed suicide, question mark? They all had some sort of cancer, question mark, close quote, Dunbar asked, period, into paragraph. That too, comma, was a valid question, period, new paragraph, open quote. I don't know, period. Extremely unlikely, comma, however, period. I've already sent them blood and tissues out for some tests, comma, did it as soon as I found out that their hair turned white, period. Close quote, into paragraph. Open quote. If it's extremely unlikely, comma, then why the hell were they taking some sort of of anti-cancer drugs, question mark, close quote. Chase asked, period, into paragraph. There was no answer, period, into paragraph, open quote. Do you know what kind of drug they took? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Once again, comma, Dr. Nordmeyer shook her head, period, into paragraph, open quote. Those sorts of drugs don't show up on even an advanced tox screens, period. Depending on what they took, comma, some metabolites might cause one of the tests to ping, comma, but in this case, nothing happened, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Can you test for those drugs? Question mark, for, what'd you call them? Question mark, antibodies? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Monoclonal antibodies, comma. Basically a way of boosting your immune system to attack the cancerous cells, period, close quote, into paragraph. And we can test for them, comma, sure, comma, but it requires a separate requisition, period, close quote, into paragraph. Dr. Nordmeyer just continued to stare at Chase, comma, and it was upon her to spur the woman to action, period, into paragraph, open quote. Well, do it then, comma. I want to know exactly what these girls were taking, period. And why, period, close quote, into paragraph. And despite her forceful words, comma, Dr. Nordmeyer didn't react, period. Instead, comma, she appeared to defer to Detective Dunbar, period, new paragraph, open quote. Just M dash close quote into paragraph. Before Chase could chastise the woman, comma, Dunbar interrupted her, period into paragraph, open quote. Do all the tests, comma, all the screening tests you can on all products for all anti-cancer drugs, M dash. Close quote. Dunbar looked skyward for a moment, period, open quote. You know what, question mark? Run a tox screen on every single compound you can, comma. I don't care how rare it is, period. I want to know what's in their system when they died, period, close quote, into paragraph. Dr. Nordmeyer scratched the back of her neck, period, into paragraph, open quote. That's going to be expensive, comma, close quote, she remarked, period, into paragraph, open quote. Just fucking do it, comma, close quote. Chase snapped, period, into paragraph. The woman's mousy face contorted, comma, the bridge of her nose becoming a network of creases, period, into paragraph, open quote. Please, comma. Just get the test done as fast as you can, comma, close quote. Detective Dunbar instructed, period, into paragraph. The woman nodded, comma, but her face remained contorted, period, into paragraph. Open quote. I'll call you as soon as I have anything. Comma, close quote. Dr. Nordmeyer said, period, into paragraph. Open quote. Thank you, comma, close quote. Detective Dunbar said, period, into paragraph. Dunbar and Floyd then turned to the door, comma, but and Dr. Nordmeyer appeared to Nordmeyer took a seat behind the microscope once more, period, into paragraph. Chase, comma, on the other hand, comma, took several steps forward towards Sky Derringer's body, period. She cocked her head to one side as she approached, comma, taking in the girl's smooth skin, comma, her blonde, nearly white hair, period, into paragraph. Why were you taking anti-cancer drugs, question mark? She wondered, period. Were you sick? Question mark. Were you all sick, comma, dying, question mark? New paragraph. Even though, despite everything that Chase had done to her body, comma, she was in relatively good health, comma, and she never had to contemplate the idea of taking her own life to avoid becoming extremely ill, period, to paragraph. But she understood it, period, to paragraph. She understood people who developed severe Alzheimer's or were on the decline, comma, or had some sort of degenerative disease that would render them practically a vegetable in a matter of months, comma. The idea that the last vestige of control that they could hold on to would be to take their own life, period, new paragraph. But someone this young, question mark, new paragraph. 5 of them, question mark, new paragraph, open quote. Don't touch the body, comma, close quote. Dr. Karen Nordmeyer snapped from behind her, period, new paragraph. Chase realized that she'd made it right up to the gurney, comma, but her hands were still firmly planted in her pockets, period, new paragraph. There had been a time when she would been forced to wear gloves, comma, that when touching a corpse would send her into almost like a dreamlike state, period. That the sensations she experienced were so overwhelming that when she emerged from the stupor, comma, it was as if she had died along with the victim, period, new paragraph. But that had been another time, comma, another life, period, new paragraph. She was normal now, comma. And normalcy was something that Chase always dreaded, period, new paragraph, open quote. I won't, comma, close quote, she said softly, comma, backing away from the corpse, period. She eventually caught up with. Then she strode briskly to the door, comma, making sure not to make eye contact with the doctor, who was obviously watching her out, period, open quote. Don't worry, comma, I won't, period, close quote. Vanessa, thank you for the like. Much appreciated. All right, so now we know like that these girls for some reason are taking some anti-cancer drugs, and we got this seed or an idea that they were all dying of something, of cancer perhaps, and that's why they decided to regain control of themselves by committing suicide. So that's a hint of what is to come. I'm gonna say that the story might be a little bit more complex than that, but that's where we're headed. Got my bubbly here. You thought coffee was bad for burps. Let me tell you, this bubbly is the worst. Chapter 35, new paragraph. Open quote. Where to now? Question mark. Close quote. Floyd asked as they congregated outside of NYU Med. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. I could get something to eat. Could eat, comma, close quote, Dunbar replied, period, new paragraph. Chase ignored both of these comments and addressed the two men as soon as they had entered a narrow hallway. Entered a deserted waiting room of some sort, period, new paragraph, open quote. Why would they be taking anti-cancer drugs, question mark, close quote, she asked out loud, period, new paragraph. Neither Floyd nor Dunbar offered anything substantial as a response, period, new paragraph, open quote. You think they were all sick, question mark? You think they were all dying from some sort of cancer and then they decided to off themselves, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. What are the odds that 5 kids of their age had cancer, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Next to nothing. Who are best friends develop cancer at their age, question mark. Next to zero, comma, I'd think, period. If nothing else, comma, cancer is a disease of the elderly. Comma, close quote. Dunbar remarked curiously, period, into paragraph, open quote. What can we do? How can we find out? Question mark. I mean, comma, these girls were all adults, comma, so can we subpoena their medical records? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Dunbar grimaced, period, into paragraph, open quote. We could, comma, and it would happen, comma, we'd get the information we need, comma, but it might take a while, period. Close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Even though these girls were all adults, comma, they lived at home, dot, 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 close quote. Floyd began hesitantly, period, open quote. Maybe you could just ask their parents, question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Chase pictured both Mr. and Mrs. Sky Derringer, comma, red-faced, comma, eyes and cheeks raw from crying, period, to paragraph, open quote. They would have mentioned it, period. Close quote. She said, comma, mostly to herself, period, open quote. They would have mentioned if she had cancer, period. All of the parents would, period, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. Most likely, comma, close quote. Dunbar offered, comma, answering the question that she hadn't realized she'd asked out loud, period, into paragraph, open quote. I guess there's really only one way to tell, period. I guess we have to go back to the parents, comma, then, comma, close quote. Chase began, period, open quote. If we ask them and they don't want to tell us, or we get any idea that they're lying to us, comma, for whatever reason, comma, then we can always, M dash, close quote, in a paragraph. A loud buzzing sound filled the room, and all eyes were on Floyd, who apologized and reached for his phone, period, in a paragraph. He pulled that out of his pocket, looked at the screen for a second, but instead of answering, comma, he held it out to Chase, period, in a paragraph. Open quote. I think it's for you, comma, close quote, he said, period, in a paragraph. Confused, comma. Chase reached out and grabbed the phone and looked at the name on the screen, period, in a paragraph. Wild cleanup, period, in a paragraph. She took the phone, comma, and then turned her back to the other men as she spoke, period. She was cognizant of the fact that this was exactly what Dunbar had done to her and Floyd on several occasions, comma, and knew how annoying it could be, comma. But this was something she wanted to keep from the former, period, in a paragraph. The ties between Wild Cleanup and the NYPD were deep, comma, she knew, comma, and that meant that Dunbar was a potential risk, period, in a paragraph, open quote. Chase Adams here, question mark, close quote, she said, immediately upon answering the phone, period, in a paragraph, open quote. It's Tommy, comma, close quote. A familiar voice replied, period. She tried to detect any stress in his voice, comma. Anything at all, period, new paragraph. There was nothing there, period, new paragraph, open quote. I think I may have found what you're looking for, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase's heart skipped a beat, period, new paragraph, open quote. You found it? Question mark, close quote. New paragraph, open quote. Yes, comma, it was. The girl's cell phone was accidentally scooped up with their pillowcase, period. Close quote, new paragraph. Chase's spirits lifted, period. Maybe they were getting somewhere, comma, or we're going to, period, new paragraph, open quote. Can you bring it right to M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. I'd like to meet up, period. Close quote, new paragraph. Realizing that Floyd and Dunbar were now hovering over her, comma, she took 2 steps away from them, period, new paragraph, open quote. I don't know if that's a good idea, period. I just want the M dash, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. I would like to give it to you in person, period. Close quote in the paragraph. There was more to this than just a cell phone, comma, Chase realized, period in the paragraph. Although she had little time for games, comma, on a regular day, comma, today was anything but. And this whole experience of her being here in New York City was anything but, comma. The last thing Chase wanted to do was go back and talk to Sky Derringer's parents, period in the paragraph. She knew that this would be something that Floyd would very much detest, comma, but that wasn't her problem, period in the paragraph. Her problem was figuring out why these girls committed suicide, period in the paragraph, open quote. Where, question mark, close quote. New paragraph, open quote. There's a bar called Barney's up in the It's on the east, M dash, close quote, in the paragraph, open quote. I know where it is, period. I'll meet you there in 10 minutes, period, close quote, in the paragraph. With that, comma, Chase shut off the phone and handed it back to Floyd, period, in the paragraph. Both men looked at her expectantly, comma, and Chase contemplated how much information to reveal to them, period, in the paragraph. She hated keeping Floyd in the lurch, comma, but she didn't feel comfortable mentioning the fact that the cell phone had been found by wild cleanup to Dunbar, period, in the paragraph, open quote. There's something I need to do, comma, close quote. She began, comma, purposefully vague, period, open quote. Why don't you two go talk to the girl's parents? See if you can find out if any of them were sick, period, close quote. New paragraph. Floyd shifted uncomfortably on his heels, comma, and at 3 occasions looked as if he were about to protest, period, new paragraph. Chase felt bad for the boy. Man, comma, as he was clearly trying to contemplate come up with not just a sentence that would illustrate how much he did not want to do that, comma, but how he could do it without stuttering, period, new paragraph. Eventually, comma, the task became too great, and he just clammed shut, period, new paragraph. But like when he had gotten angry at her in the car, comma, like when he had gotten mad because she'd left him alone with Sky Derringer's parents while she'd gone on a goose chase trying to find a cell phone, comma, his eyes glared into her, period, new paragraph. Open quote. You sure you're going to be okay? Question mark, close quote, Dunbar asked, period, new paragraph. Everything all right? Question mark, close quote, Dunbar asked, period, new paragraph. The comment that was on the tip of Chase's tongue was one berating him for the comment that was on the tip of Chase's tongue was something along the lines of her berating him for thinking that she needed a big man like himself to hold her hand, comma, to make sure she was okay, period, new paragraph. But he meant well, comma, and sometimes intention was more important than actual words, period, new paragraph. Most of the time, comma, in fact, period, new paragraph, open quote. I'll be fine, period. Just find out why these girls were taking anti-cancer medication, period. Close quote in the paragraph. All right. All right, man. That was a good chapter. Came out super fast. I'm surprised it was 900 words. When I was almost done that, I was like, nah, this is too short to be a chapter, but not works. It works. So I'm going to send Chase now. She's going to go to meet up with Tommy, and they might have a drink or two. Might get a little frisky. Who knows? And then we're going to have, she's going to get the cell phone. He does have the cell phone. It's not a trick. And then they're going to meet up again. At some point, I think, because it's got to be evening time now, right? One of the most difficult things I find when I'm writing these things, as I do, like just as a pure kind of first draft process, I don't let enough time pass. Partly by design, like I said this many times, I just don't like books that just sag and like nothing's happening for no reason. Meaning there wasn't like some sort of hidden, there's not like some learning about the character when nothing's happening. Based on her actions, like character goes to the movies or something, and whatever movie she watches is important to develop that character. That's okay, occasionally, but I just don't like time passing with nothing occurring. It just seems if I'm gonna beat my head against a wall while writing something like that, then the reader's just gonna be bored out of their fucking mind. So I don't want to do that. But one of the drawbacks of that is that the stories often take place in a very, very condensed time period. So she got there this morning, and she has to go there. She has to go to bed at some point. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see her. She's gonna go, and oh, she's gonna get drinks with Tommy, and then she's going to go back, and she's gonna fall asleep on the couch at DSLH Investigations. And that'll be like another day past type of thing. Oh, we don't have any music going today. I'm gonna put the music on. All right, you should be able to hear that. I think some chill beats. Good vibe now. Be vibing. Chapter 36, new paragraph. Even though Chase seemed to have lost the voodoo that had made her so successful as an FBI agent, her spider sense was still tingly. Tingled as she approached Barney's period of paragraph. Part of this was the nostalgia, the memory of having been here before with Drake, period of paragraph. Part of it was the guilt that she hadn't reached out to the man after going dark, period of paragraph, or even after she had commandeered the man's private investigation firm, period of paragraph. This thought brought about a reminded her of the fact that she needed to get some cash comma, about $5,000 worth of cash to give to Screech for letting him use the place, period to paragraph. It was an overpayment, comma, most definitely, comma, but maybe that was part of her way of appeasing the guilt from how she treated Drake, comma, and the other members of the team, period to paragraph. Chase parked her car out front, comma. It was early, comma, coming up on 8 o'clock, comma, which meant that there was still a parking spot available right out front of Barney's, period to paragraph. Before getting out of the car, comma, she took a glance up in the rearview mirror at herself, period to paragraph. I could use a little blush, comma, maybe something on my lips, comma, she thought, comma, before immediately chastising herself, period. Something on my... This wasn't a social call, comma. This wasn't a date, period to paragraph. This was about getting the damn phone and finding out what text would make the girls do what they did, period to paragraph. Chase got out of the car, comma, smoothed the front of her jeans and walked right up to the door, period to paragraph. Normally, comma, if she'd gone to a place like this, comma, she would worn a long time ago, comma, had she gone on to a place like this, comma, even on business, such as this occasion, comma, she would have sported something along the eye. A little more nicer, comma, designer perhaps, comma, or in the very least, comma, some Jimmy Choos, period new paragraph. But that was the old Chase, comma, and this was the new, period new paragraph. The new Chase was a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl, period to paragraph. The new Chase was one that wore little or no makeup, period to paragraph. There was a large man by the front door, comma, one that she recognized from somewhere, comma, but couldn't place him, period to paragraph. He barely looked up as she entered, period to paragraph. Inside, comma, there was some calm, relaxing music playing, comma. Calming music met her as soon as she entered, comma. Pulled the door and stepped inside. Open. Low, comma, calming music met her as soon as she entered, comma. And Chase wasn't surprised to find that the place was mostly empty, period. There were two men seated at the bar, comma, two men in suits with gray hair. Much of their appearance so perfectly matched what Chase had expected Tommy Wilde to look like that she was almost taken aback, period to paragraph, open quote. Chase, comma, close quote, he heard a voice say from the back of the room, period to paragraph. She immediately perked her head and saw Tommy Wilde seated in a booth by himself, period. He was dressed in the leather jacket she'd seen slung over the back of the chair, comma, in his office, comma, and he was wearing the same thing he had been hours earlier, period to paragraph. Chase stood up tall and walked over to him, period. New paragraph. Even though she didn't feel any danger, comma, she still instinctively checked the corners of the room. Period, new paragraph. Like the majority of Barney's, comma, they were empty. Period, new paragraph. Open quote. Do you have the phone? Question mark, close quote, she asked as she made her way to the booth. Period, new paragraph. The man nodded. Period, new paragraph. Open quote. Why don't you sit down and have a drink, comma, Chase. Period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase frowned. Period, new paragraph. Open quote. I don't want a drink, period. I want the cell phone. Period, close quote, new paragraph. She expected Tommy to push back then, comma, to say that he would only give her the phone if she had a drink, like some sort of romantic blackmail, comma, but the man surprised her, period, new paragraph. He withdrew a small plastic bag out of his pocket and slid it across the table to her, period, new paragraph. She looked at the cell phone, comma, an iPhone with a yellow case. Surrounded by a protective yellow case, period, new paragraph, open quote. This is Sky Derringer's, question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. It is, comma, close quote, Tommy confirmed, period, close quote, new paragraph. Chase reached for the phone, comma, and as she did, comma, she saw Tommy bring a glass of beer to his lips and sip it, period, new paragraph. He was a handsome man, comma. If a little young looking for her taste, period, new paragraph. In fact, comma, in many ways, comma, this Tommy Wilde reminded Chase of a younger Damian Drake, period, new paragraph. A less jaded Drake, period, new paragraph, open quote. You know what? Question mark. I think I might have a drink, period, close quote. She said softly, period, new paragraph. Tommy didn't smirk or smile, comma, didn't make it look like he'd won her over, comma. All he did was hold up his hand. And the bartender took notice, period, new paragraph, open quote. What would you like? Question mark, close quote, new paragraph, open quote. Scotch, period. Make it a double, period, close quote, new paragraph. Now Tommy did smirk, comma, and Chase let him have this one, period. He ordered her drink, and a few seconds later, it came over, period, new paragraph. The bartender was someone she also recognized, comma, a man who had gone through about as many stylistic iterations as the bar itself, colon, hipster, comma, metalhead, comma, EDM, comma, and now a cross between a jazz bar and an Irish pub, period, new paragraph. It was clear, too, by the way that the man's eyebrows lifted that he recognized Chase as well, comma, but he knew better than to call her out, period. After all, comma, there was a sacred bond between a bartender and its patrons, comma, one that was more difficult to crack than a doctor-patient confidentiality, period, new paragraph, open quote. When he was gone, comma, Chase sipped a drink, comma, took a small sip of her drink, period. It was delicious, comma, and she took a larger one immediately afterwards, period, new paragraph, open quote. Chase, comma, I want to tell you that this was just a mistake, period. We're not into selling. We're not into stealing cell phones here at Wild Investigation, period. Sometimes, sometimes some of my cleanup men get a little overzealous, period. Sometimes things get scooped up that shouldn't have been scooped up, period, close quote. In paragraph, Chase stared intently at the man as he spoke, comma, trying to decipher the words between the words, period, in paragraph. She got no hint of deception, period, in paragraph. It was clear that the cell phone had been stolen. comma, but it wouldn't make sense for Tommy himself to have stolen it, period, new paragraph. Judging by his office, comma, by the deal with the NYPD, comma, it was obvious that this man had no need for a $500 used cell phone, period, new paragraph, open quote. I understand, period. I'm glad that you I'm just glad that you managed to find it, period, close quote, paragraph, open quote. I didn't find it, comma, close quote, Tommy said suddenly, period, paragraph, open quote. You, M dash, close quote. Chase closed her mouth quickly, comma, realizing what he was getting at, period, open quote. Of course not, period. It was at the house, period. I found it, period, close quote, paragraph. Tommy smiled, comma, and raised his glass, period, paragraph. It seemed like a strange thing to do, M dash, to cheers over such a each other over finding the cell phone of a young girl who committed suicide, M dash, but Chase felt compelled to do so, period, paragraph. And the scotch, dot, dot, dot. It had been a long time since she'd had a good scotch such as this one, period. Back home, comma, she mostly stuck to red wine, comma, and even then it was only a glass or two, period. She needed to be up early, comma, needed to be clear-headed when she went for her run prior to Georgina waking, period, paragraph. But today, dot, 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 and tomorrow, dot, 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 there would be no running in her near future, comma, she knew, period, paragraph. Which was why, comma, when she had finished her scotch, comma, Chase ordered another, period, paragraph. And after a while, comma, the alcohol loosened her tongue, comma, and she found herself chatting with Tommy Weil, period, paragraph. After she finished her third glass, comma, second glass, comma, she ordered a third, period, paragraph. And after that, comma, a fourth, period. Hey, what's going on? Did a Diatax 33? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, new Twitch viewer. Listen, finish that chapter. We see what's happening here, right? So Chase is out of her element, and we know that Chase likes to do one of three things when she gets in this position. One, do drugs. Not going to happen. We're not going to count alcohol in this case. Two, she's going to throw herself into her work. She's doing that already, but she's kind of stuck, so I don't think that counts. What's the third one? All you Thrilligans out there, you should know exactly what Chase likes to do when things get out of control for her. She likes to fuck. So we're gonna see. We all know that Tommy's got his he's got enough on his plate to probably not get involved with a FBI agent, but might just happen. Listen, one of the reasons why I cut that short right there at the end is that the bubbly's flowing right through me. I gotta go. I'm gonna be back literally 1 minute, guys. Give me a sec. What's up, Linda? How you doing today? You miss Beckett? I miss Beckett too. He was the most fun character I've ever uh, had the privilege of writing or creating. I'm gonna tell you a secret here. There's gonna be at least one more Beckett story. I think it's a short one. Actually, I know it's a short one, but it's gonna be set before when Beckett was just a burgeoning med student, and he was at just just starting to get his urges. Listen, I want to ask you guys something. I've always had this idea about writing books about Chase before she became the Chase Adams that you know. There's so much information, so much. There's so much in the stories that discusses when she was a narc in Seattle and her whole relationship with that Tyler Tisdale character. Thank you, Beckett, for killing him. And what happened there for her to go from seemingly have everything together to being a heroin addict. That was so that yeah, sorry, I'm lost in thought there. That I would love to write those books. Um, a very prominent indie author that goes by Blake Pierce, who writes fantastic books. He or she, I don't know what it is. Okay. He or she has done this before where they've done, I think it was Riley Page. It's the making of Riley Page. And Riley Page was one of his main characters, long running series. And then he sent out these books set before all that happened. And it really was intriguing to me. And I think in part kind of instigated this idea of writing about Chase before she actually became Chase Adams. We know what happened to her in the past, right? When growing up, that was all explored in Georgina's story, and really it was what set her along this path of self-destruction. But if you guys are interested in something like that, please let me know. As I said, Chase is the most popular character of mine, and I'd love to explore her backstory a little bit, even if it would be only a shorter series, maybe a 3-book series. Talk about her initial involvement, Tyler, and then the crack den that she was in, the trap house, that sort of thing. But for right now, we are working on adverse effects. I'm trying to come up with a way that I can get Chase out of this situation. See, I know I know what there's some big bombs that are dropped in the 3 wild months. So I am trying, and one, yeah, he just cannot get in a relationship with Chase. That would not fly. So I'm trying to think. All right, I know what's gonna happen. We're gonna do one more Chase chapter, and then I'm gonna put her to bed. Not metaphorically. She's actually just gonna go to sleep. Maybe pass out is a better term. Boom. Hey Kelly, thank you very much for the follow. Much obliged. If you guys missed it, you can control. You can get a notification on Facebook if you put !notify. It should tell you every time I go live. And then you could also change the colors of the lights if you so desire. If you think I'm going off topic here, you can make it red. Dun, 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 dun. Oops. Okay. Finally digging this boom arm, by the way. I had a lot of problems with it. It just wasn't set up the way I wanted to, but that was my old mic. So with the new mic, it seems to be great. Working great. Yeah, I got some pretty nasty emails when I ended Beckett's series. I'm not gonna lie. I think I made some enemies there. Enemies out of Thrilligans. Hopefully you guys love me again when I bring them back. Chapter 37, new paragraph. I'm just thinking about how to start this one. Sorry, I know where this chapter's going. I just need to figure out how to get it started. To begin it. To begin it? That doesn't make any fucking sense. No. Chase didn't know if it was the alcohol or something else, comma. The fact that she'd had very little social interaction over the past 18 months, comma. But she liked Tommy, period. She liked him so much, comma, in fact, comma, that she spent most of the time just listening to the man talk, comma, which was something of a deviation from her normal behavior, period to paragraph, and talk Tommy did, period to paragraph. She got the impression that Tommy was also deprived of social interaction, period to paragraph. He spoke a little bit about his business, comma, respectfully not getting into gory details, comma, but about how he'd gone from receiving a PhD in chemistry to starting his own crime scene cleanup company, period to paragraph, open quote. That's a bit of a stretch, comma, close quote. Chase said, jokingly, period, open quote. Chemistry to clean up, question mark, close quote, to paragraph. Tommy shrugged, period to paragraph, open quote. I'm telling you, comma, even with a PhD, it's tough to get a job, period. And besides, comma, I was sick and tired of the bureaucratic nature of academia and business as a whole, period. I decided to start my own company and run things differently, period, close quote, in a paragraph. Open quote. I hear you, comma, I hear you, comma, close quote, Chase said as she sipped her scotch, period, open quote. Just seems like a strange leap, comma, is all, period, close quote, in a paragraph, open quote. Funny you say that, comma, because honestly, question mark, I would never have gotten any work at all if it weren't for a buddy of mine, period. He was the messiest bastard you've ever encountered, period. He was in the med school at the time and had no time to clean and was generally just a slob, period. Anyways, comma, he called me into his house and I was just doing some cleanup for him, comma, helping him out a little bit, comma, when I realized that I had to come up with some pretty damn strong solvents to get his stains out of the carpeting, comma, if you know what I mean, period, close quote. He came back and after he saw the job I'd done, apparently, comma, he'd have had dozens of cleaners come in only to quit after about an hour, He said I should start a business, period. I did it part-time for a little bit, comma, but then he became this medical examiner, and then, close quote, into paragraph. Chase nearly dropped her glass, period, into paragraph, open quote. What was his name? Question mark, close quote. She gasped, period, into paragraph. Tommy made a face, period, to paragraph, open quote. He's dead now, comma. Unfortunately, he passed away not too long ago, period, close quote, into paragraph. Chase couldn't believe it, period, into paragraph. Open quote, Beckett, comma, close quote. She said breathlessly, period, into paragraph. Now it was Tommy's turn to pull back, period, into paragraph, open quote. You know Beckett? Question mark. You knew Dr. Campbell? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Chase nodded, period, into paragraph. Open quote. I knew him, M dash. We weren't close, comma, but he helped me out on a bunch of cases when I was working as a detective here in New York, period. He was weird, comma. No, comma, he wasn't just weird, comma. He was off the wall strange, comma, but I liked him, period. He didn't fuck around, comma, didn't beat around the bush, comma, that sort of thing, period, close quote, into paragraph. Tommy still appeared suspicious. Okay, fuck off. Nailed it. Appeared suspicious, comma, but it was also obvious that he'd fallen in some sort of nostalgic state, period, into paragraph, open quote. He was weird, comma, maybe one of the weirdest guys I ever knew, comma, close quote. Tommy said absently, period, open quote, but I love the guy, period. Chase watched the man as the man's chin slowly drifted toward his chest, period, into paragraph, fearing that they were going into a place of the conversation from which they couldn't return, comma. Chase suddenly picked up her scotch glass and held it high, period, into paragraph, open quote. To Beckett, comma, close quote, she said, period, into paragraph. Tommy looked up, comma, and once again cheers her glass, period, into paragraph, open quote. To Beckett, period, close quote, into paragraph. After they clinked glasses, comma, they stayed close, comma, much closer than was natural, given the fact they were seated on opposite sides of the booth, period, to paragraph. Chase finished her scotch, comma, and placed the empty glass down on the counter. Table in front of her, period, to paragraph, open quote. One more? Question mark, close quote. Tommy asked, period, to paragraph. Chase shook her head, period, to paragraph, open quote. Nah, come on, I'm done for now, period. You want to get out of here? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Tommy's face contorted, comma. But eventually he nodded, period, to paragraph. He sucked back the rest of his beer, comma, and then rose to his feet, period. He indicated for the bartender to send him the bill. Slipping on his leather jacket that he'd since taken off during their conversation, period, to paragraph. He signaled to the bartender as they passed, comma, and Chase stayed close to his side, period, to paragraph, open quote. Don't we have to pay for the bill? Question mark, close quote, to paragraph, open quote. It's on my tab, comma. Don't worry about it, comma, close quote, Tommy said, period, to paragraph. Outside, comma, Chase was surprised to see that the sun had long since set, period. Not only that, comma, but on the way out of Barney's, she saw dozens of patrons, comma, who must have come during the time which she had arrived. Must have arrived during their conversation, comma, but of whom she had taken no notice, period, to paragraph. Open quote. You okay to drive? Question mark. Close quote. She asked as they made her way across the street. Tommy led the way across the street to a dark sedan, which she assumed was his, period new paragraph, open quote. Yeah, comma, close quote, he said hesitantly, period new paragraph. They made it right to the door. As soon as they made it to the car, comma, he suddenly turned toward her, period new paragraph, open quote. Listen, comma, I don't, M dash, close quote, new paragraph. Chase didn't let the man finish, period. Instead, comma, she reached up and put her hands in the back of his head, comma, kneading her fingers through his dark hair, period. Then she pulled him close, comma, lowering his neck down to hers, period. She kissed him full on the lips, comma, immediately tasting the last of his beer, period, to paragraph. At first, comma, Tommy was guarded, comma, leaning away from her, comma, but when her tongue slipped into his mouth, comma, he resisted no longer, period. He wrapped his arms around her waist, comma, pulling her body close to his, period. Chase reciprocated, comma, driving him backwards until he bumped up against the car, period, to paragraph. They kissed hungrily for several seconds, comma, before eventually she realized that Tommy was no longer pressing against him and instead trying to break free, period, to paragraph. Chase obliged, comma, taking a small step back away from the door of the car, period, to paragraph, open quote. I can't, comma, close quote. Tommy said hesitantly, period, to paragraph. Chase's cheeks immediately flushed, comma, and if it hadn't been for the alcohol that coursed through her veins, comma, she was sure that her face would have turned a darker shade of red, period, in paragraph. As it was, comma, her entire body was warm and tingly, comma, a combination of the alcohol and the arousal, period, in paragraph, open quote. I'm sorry, comma, close quote, she said, ashamed, period, in paragraph. She was sorry. Open quote, no, comma, it's my fault, comma, Tommy said, period. I just can't, dot, dot, dot. It's not, dot, 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 it's not right for me, comma, not now, period, close quote, in paragraph. Open quote, me neither, comma, close quote, she said quietly, comma, spinning on her heels and hurrying back to her car, period, in paragraph. Open quote, Chase, question mark, Chase, question mark, close quote, Tommy hollered after her, period, in paragraph, but Chase didn't turn back, period, in paragraph. She was ashamed at having once again done what she'd promised herself she wouldn't do, semicolon, throw herself at a man when she started to lose control, period, in paragraph, much less a man that was at the very least tangentially related to the case that she was working on, period, in paragraph. Shaking her head, comma, she slid in behind the wheel of her car and asked herself the same question she just asked Tommy, period, in paragraph. Stepping out of the bar, the answer might have been a resounding no, M dash. She was not capable of driving, M dash. But now, comma, the alcohol seemed to have flushed her system and had been replaced with embarrassment and guilt and self-loathing, period, in paragraph. She started the car, comma, and peeled away from Barney's, comma, not even bothering to look at Tommy, who she saw in her periphery was standing by his car, comma, staring at her, comma, his hands out, comma, palms up as if he was pleading, period, in paragraph. And now Chase did cast a glance in his direction, comma, and suddenly saw not just a man with his hands out, comma, a man who was as embarrassed as she was, comma, but a girl, period, in paragraph, a girl with white hair, period, in paragraph, and no longer were his hands open, comma, but they were filled with pooling blood that dripped out of the two identical incisions that ran from halfway down her forearm to the heel of her hand, period. There's Chase being Chase again. Trying to get her groove on with Tommy. But he shut her down. He had to, man. I would love for Chase and Tommy to get together. I think they would be one hell of a good couple. But Tommy, as I said earlier, Tommy's got his own extreme complications when it comes to relationships. I'm trying not to do too many spoilers because I can't actually remember exactly where 2 Wild Weeks ended. But I do know that there is a bomb diggity that's dropped at the end of 3 Wild Months. And that comes into play right here because 3 Wild Months comes before this. Obviously, because you guys know at the end of 2 Wild Weeks, Tommy was just getting his business kind of up and running. And now it seems like he has this exclusive contract. And he, he's got his shit together. He's got a big business to run. Pat, thank you very much for the like. Much appreciated. You guys, you lurkers in the chat. I know you're there. I could see you. I see you, baby. Shaking that ass. Listen, hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button. Hit the share, the follow. You know the drill. Come on now. That's the chat tax. It's free to stay. Free to stay. But the tax, everything's taxed. I'm in Canada, so even the chat is taxed here. You got to hit that like button. Much appreciated. I'm ready. I'm vibing right now. It's coming on 4 o'clock. Oh my God, it's already 4 o'clock. And I'm vibing. I'm just getting the groove. Because of that, I'll take a break to chat with y'all. I was talking to my buddy a while back, 6 months ago, and he said to me he asked me when I work. I'm sorry, I just fixed his mustache here. Needs a trim. He asked me when I like to do my when I do my best work or when I get the most done in respect to. Oh. What's up, Doc? We'll start slow here. No wonder Dragon can't understand me. My friend asked me, he said, when do you do your best writing? When do you get the most done? You're the most productive. The idea is flowing. And I told him at night. And he's like, oh, you can't. All these famous writers, they do. He's French. Not really, but these famous writers, they do all the work in the morning. They wake up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and then they do the writing. And then by the time it's lunchtime, they're done. The day is just starting for other people's and they've done the writing. That's the best time to write. And I told him, what the fuck are you talking about, brother? I don't know what other people do. I don't know what other writers do. I only know what I do. And I work much better at night. Now, the reality is that doesn't jive with if I were a bachelor, I might do writing overnight. But now, I got the 3 girls to look after. They got their school schedule. I got, husband responsibilities. And so I'm trying to push my schedule back to 10. I'll tell you this, though. It was much easier to go live the second time around today at, I don't know what time I went, 3 something? What time? Yeah, about 3 than it was to do it this morning. So it still holds true. But it was better when the gyms were open because I can get that blood flowing, get that pump at the gym, and then I'd come back and I'd be ready to go. Now that it's not open and it's a shitty rainy day, so I can't run, fucking excuses are piling up. But I like to get, as soon as I get a vibe on, I don't like to stop. That's why I should not be talking to you. I should be writing. Dun, dun, dun. And the music helps, even though this is just some lo-fi hip-hop beats. They help. All right, so I think in this chapter, Chase is going to wake up. So she went to sleep overnight. I got to let some time pass here. I mean, Chase is good, but she can't be that good. She can't just solve every case in fucking 17 minutes. It'd be much easier to write a book like that, though. You know the show 24? I used to love that show back in the day with Jack Bauer. It was such a unique concept for oh, here we go again. No. We're back. It was such a unique concept for a show that happened in real time. And I mean, you guys probably, it was on Fox like maybe 10 years ago. And dude, it degenerated into pure nonsense. But the first few seasons, you had this sort of terrorist attack going on, and Jack Bauer, he's I don't remember what it was, some sort of anti-terrorist unit in the U.S. And basically, there was this counter that would come up on the screen during the show, be like, doon, deek, doon, deek, doon, deek, and it would be counting down or up. I don't know. I think up. And it would be in real time. So you'd watch one episode, and the episode was an hour long, right? I mean, minus commercials, but it was an hour long. And then the next episode would take place the following hour, and it would go, in chronological order that way. And it was a fantastic idea for a story, or for format for a TV show that I'd never seen before. I don't think that would work so much for books. Oh yeah, one of the reasons why that's such a great way, and it's kind of a little bit cheesy in some respects, because it allows you to artificially inject this suspense. What, fucking Sean Connery here? Like, you get to artificially inject some suspense, or you get to really have this heightened sense of urgency because you're putting this clock up on the screen. And it worked because everyone has to watch that TV show. I mean, barring pausing and rewinding and stuff, but back when this is out, that wasn't as common. But you really had to watch the TV show at the same pace as everyone else. It was on every week, and so you couldn't binge it. Even that would work too, but you'd have to do 1 hour and then the next hour, and it would go on from there. So I think that worked fantastically for the first season, maybe the first 2 seasons. But I don't know if that would work in a book, because you can't. I don't know how you do that in real time. That would be a cool thing if people could develop kind of an algorithm based on how long you're taking to read. I know Kindle does this in terms of how much time you have left to read your book, I guess, based on how fast you're reading and how many pages. But to have like a timer that actually kind of coincided with your speed of reading to accelerate some of the suspense, I think that could work. I mean, I'm all about new and coming up with new ideas, or trying to, I don't want to say improve on you can't improve on a book. Okay. Like, the traditional book is a book, right? And it's been around for millions of years. Tongue in cheek. It's been around forever, and it's a great way to tell stories, obviously. But I do like when people try different things, and when companies try different things. I know that Kindle has done something called Kindle in Motion. Here, I'm going to pull that up, just in case you guys are unfamiliar with this. Here, I'm going to switch over here and show you guys what I mean. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Kindle is trying new things, and I love them for it. Sorry. So this is called Journey to the Center. Okay. What is this book? I've never heard of this book. Okay, Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. You can see there's this cool, in the background, you see this cool kind of rock picture. Okay, it's really not that cool, but usually Kindle books don't have that. You can see the cover is animated, which is pretty cool. And this is an example of inside the book. So not only do they have... can I not look inside, please? What the... Okay. For those of you who don't know, the Amazon.ca website is dog shit. Okay. All right, here you go. So this is the Kindle in Motion. You can see the animated cover. Then inside you have animations, images. Yeah, okay. I don't know what they're showing me. You can scroll back and forth. They have images built in with animations, and I think it's a really cool way to just get more people interested in books. So you can see there are a bunch here. Listen, if I had the opportunity to do this, I would jump on it. So far as I know, though, like, this is just very, very few authors and it's just some of the monsters like Patricia Cornwell. That's pretty cool. And Dean Koontz, as you see, then obviously J.K. Rowling. But I don't know if you guys like I've been working a little bit with After Effects. That's why you see some videos and some dynamic headers that I put on Facebook and some of my ads. And I'm getting I don't know, I'm getting pretty good at it. Nope, not professional by any means, but I can work with it. So I can really take some of my covers. And you've seen them here, actually. This is not me who did this, but the Adverse Effects has that slight animation there. There's a little bit of blood coming with the holes, the lights flickering. And so I have a guy who does that for me. Very, very subtle. But if I were given the opportunity to do something like this, where I could have some, at least the cover animated, I could do something really cool with that. I think it lends itself to some genres better than other. Obviously, the sci-fi, but also horror would be very cool. What's up, Lisa? Thanks for the like. Again, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Chat tax. You paid your chat tax. You can lurk now. Yeah. So I was just talking about Kindle Emotion, how I think it's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool idea. They also have, and I've talked about this before, but they also have this where where you have the audiobook and the Kindle book synced. So if you buy them both and you're reading through the Kindle book and then you stop at a page and then later in the day you listen to your audiobook version, it'll know where you are. So it syncs up. So it knows exactly where you are, so you're not rereading shit. You don't have to search for the right spot. I think that's a really cool thing too. Just anything to make the whole experience of reading a book, consuming media in this like this type of media, written media or audio, anything to make that easier and more user friendly, I guess. For lack of a better term, I realize that you can't be more user friendly than a book. I think it's great. So, I mean, look at me. I'm doing these live streams. I don't know. I know that there are some other authors that do this. Very few on Twitch. I've found a few. Definitely, I haven't seen anybody doing dictation this way. And just trying to create more content, more engaging with you guys, let you into my twisted mind because it's lonely here sometimes. But it's new, right? So it's going to take a while to grow. I think a couple years ago, if you were to say to people, if you were to say to, maybe like, let's say 10 years ago, you were to say, hey, you know that there are going to be people who play video games and other people watch them and they make millions of dollars? You'd be like, okay, what are you talking about? Why would you watch anybody play video games when you could play video games yourselves? And even before I was aware of this kind of streaming, this type of streaming, my girls would watch on the iPad people playing with toys. And I'm like, what the fuck? They have this exact same toys. Okay. No judgment. I was just kind of confused by it. What's up, Victoria? Thanks for the like. And so now you can literally go on Twitch. The whole Twitch entire thing is based on people streaming video games. And these people are killing it. They're getting 60. I was watching a guy this morning, purely research. I was watching him play Call of Duty, and he had 65,000 people watching him play, just donating oodles. Oodles, that's a great word. I'm an author. Oodles of money at this guy. People are signing contracts for the $10 to $20 million just because they stream games. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not just because. They're a personality. They're a content creator. I get that. That's what I'm doing right now, but obviously not on their magnitude. But yeah, if you said that 10 years ago, if you said to someone, hey, you could play video games, people will watch you. And if you're having a good time and you're interesting and they jive with you, you're going to make a lot of money. You'd be like, okay, that's horseshit. That's never going to work. But clearly it does. So I think something like this where I'm streaming these books is still in its infancy. People it's not going to have the mass appeal, I don't think, of someone playing a video game. But I think there's room for some growth. How you doing, Victoria? Having a good Monday? Monday blues? I was talking earlier. I got in shit because I was low energy in this morning's stream. So I'm trying to kick it up a notch. I don't know why. I had a lot of coffee. It's Monday. Oh, yeah. And then the streaming of the Call of Duty I did this weekend and a couple weeks ago. It was terrible. I know. We're dog shit. We suck. We're having a good time though. Well, I said this before. One of the requirements is that if you're on a PC, because there's a lot of cheaters, then you have to stream. And I was debating whether or not I should just make a dummy account and stream on that. But I thought, what the hell, man? Maybe you guys would get a kick out of it. Maybe you'll join, have a laugh. And some people did, mostly just to chirp, but that's good too. By the way, anybody who's interested, we came. Just being honest? Yeah. Dude, I'm as honest as it comes. You guys know me by now, man. I tell it the way it is. The world according to Logan. I want to show you something real quick, though. So here are the results. Who's that in 18th place? Go back. No. Look at that. Thrilligan Gang, 18 out of 71 teams. So maybe we're not dog shit. Maybe we're just like not very good. I don't know what the hierarchy is when you start with dog shit, but here we go. We're 18th, Thrilligans. Hey-oh. 71 teams, by the way, so we want to improve on that, I hope. Yeah, it's raining here too, Victoria. It's there's something to be said about SAD, seasonal affective disorder. Obviously, you're dealing with something more serious, but it sucks to wake up to be when it's raining. That actually, so I try to teach my kids there's very little value in getting upset about things, especially really upset about things that they can't control. So one of those things is the weather. And when they were younger, and I still do this, but I make a point to take them out in the rain and do something fun in the rain. Oftentimes it's just puddle jumping and we get soaking wet, and then Ashley gets pissed because she's got to do all the laundry. But I think it's an important lesson to teach them and to make them aware of the fact that getting angry or upset about something that is outside of your control is just a lost cause. And for me, the greatest example of that is the weather. Yeah, so I think I actually took the kids out. They're off today. It's another pet day, and took them out. Oh my God, on my screen. What the? I took them out in the rain. Had some fun in the rain. But yeah, no, I get it. Intrinsically human to feel a little bit down when the weather is shitty, circadian rhythm and whatnot. Oh, water balloon fights in the rain? Sick. That sounds awesome. I figure you're going to be wet anyways, right? Still haven't gotten any of those book recos, by the way. Haven't gotten to them yet. I've just wrapping up a few podcasts, but I made some purchases a couple streams ago. I'm going to get to them. Circle of control. Okay, there's apparently a term for this. I'm going to go with I made it up. So, Logan's circle of control. Hey, everything I learned about parenting, I learned online. A website. Chapter 38, new paragraph. We're all winging it, Victoria. We're all winging it. If I sound, I didn't mean to imply that I got all my shit under control, because everyone's winging it. There's no real handbook. That was just tongue in cheek. There's just trial and error and trying to, do your best and impose some good morals. That's all we can do. I was going to write a book. Oh, okay, we're going to get deep. Should we get deep, chat? Nah, I'm going to save that. There's a cliffhanger. Yeah, I'm gonna save that for another time. But I'm gonna keep going right now. For you guys, you lurkers who just showed up, all you lurkers in the chat, we're crushing adverse effects today. I think we're like, so this is the word count for the last hour and a half at 4,100, and we've done another 5 this morning, so we're at 10,000 words. We're putting some good words down. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do at least one more, probably a couple more chapters. Tap, comma, tap, comma, tap, period. New paragraph. Chase groaned and opened an eye, period. At first, comma, she wasn't sure where she was, comma, but when the tapping came again, she oriented herself toward the sound, period. New paragraph. Then she reached over and opened the door to the backseat of her BMW, period. New paragraph. Open quote. Sunlight flooded her vision, comma, which was only blocked out by a dark outline, period. New paragraph. Open quote. You okay? Question mark. Is everything okay? Question mark. Close quote. Floyd asked, comma, stuttering madly, period. New paragraph. Chase groaned again and this time managed to push herself up to a seated position, period. Then she grabbed the door frame and hoisted herself into the sunlight, period. New paragraph. Her tongue felt thick and fuzzy, comma, and her head was cloudy, period. New paragraph. Open quote. I'm fine, period. Close quote. New paragraph. Open quote. I was calling you all night, comma. I was so worried that M dash close quote. New paragraph. Chase stopped Floyd by shooting him a look, period. New paragraph. A look that said, comma, you don't need to be worried about me, comma, Floyd, period. I could take care of myself, period. New paragraph. Truthful or not, comma, Floyd immediately clammed up, period. New paragraph. Open quote. I came back here, comma, and couldn't get inside, period. It was locked, period. Close quote. She said, comma, offering an answer despite her. She said, comma, trying to take the sting out of the glare that she'd leveled at Floyd, period. Open quote. I didn't have Screech or Drake's Screech's number, period. Close quote. In the paragraph. But you had Drake's number, comma, didn't you, Chase? Question mark. And yet, comma, you didn't call him, period. New paragraph. Open quote. I come bearing gifts, comma, close quote. Dunbar suddenly said, comma, appearing behind Floyd with a tray full of coffees, period. Chase instinctively reached for one, comma, only for her hand to stop halfway when she realized that an additional person had joined them, period. To paragraph. Screech was standing off to one side, his hands punched deep into his pockets, period. To paragraph. Open quote. Sorry, comma, he close quote. He said under his breath, and when he realized she was looking at him, period. New paragraph. Open quote. Not your fault, comma, close quote. Chase said, comma, grabbing her coffee, period. She took a sip, comma, and while it was scalding, comma, it served its purpose, semicolon, melting the sludge on her tongue. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. How did it go with the girl's parents? Question mark. Close quote. She asked, comma, turning her attention back to Floyd. Period. Paragraph. He looked down again, comma, and she realized that the man was going to need to put on his big boy pants if he wanted to stick around in this business, period. Sure, comma, talking to the parents of the deceased was one of the worst things anybody in law enforcement had to do, comma, but it was something that was necessary. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. Not sick, period. None of them were sick. Comma, at least that's what their parents claim, comma, close quote. Dunbar offered, period. New paragraph. Open quote. And you believe them? Question mark, close quote. She asked, period. New paragraph. Open quote. I do, comma, close quote. Floyd said, comma, injecting some artificial certainty into his voice, period. New paragraph. Chase nodded, period. New paragraph. That was good enough for her, period. New paragraph. Unless there was some sort of large conspiracy going on between all the parents of the dead girls, comma. She didn't understand why they would lie about their teenagers being sick, comma, of having cancer, period. New paragraph. It was still possible that the parents didn't know, comma, but that was seeming like a less than likely scenario, period. New paragraph. Open quote. What about you? Question mark, close quote. Floyd asked hesitantly, period. New paragraph. Chase looked toward Screech, who had started to unlock the door of DSLH investigations, period. New paragraph. Open quote. What about me? Question mark, close quote. She said defensively, comma, her mind turning back to the fumbled encounter she'd had with Tommy Wild outside of Barney's, period. New paragraph. What the fuck were you thinking, comma, Chase? Question mark. What in God's name were you thinking? Question mark, close quote. New paragraph. Open quote. I just wondered if you, comma, you know, dot, 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 close quote. New paragraph. And then, comma, Chase did know, period. New paragraph. Her eyes went wide, comma, and she reached back into her pocket to search for the cell phone that Tommy had given her, period. Only it wasn't there, period. Her own cell phone was tucked in her left pocket, and she remembered putting the phone in the plastic bag in her right when she'd crawled into the back seat, period. New paragraph. Frantic now, comma, she quickly lunged back into the car, comma, spilling some of the coffee on the leather upholstery and not caring, period. New paragraph. She reached on the seat itself, comma, between the backrest and the seat part to try to find it, comma, but it wasn't there, period. New paragraph. New paragraph, open quote. Come on, comma, close quote. She cursed, comma, as she reached beneath the seat, period. New paragraph. Just as she thought, her fingers touched something crinkly, comma, and she grabbed the corner of it and yanked it free, period. New paragraph. Open quote. I've got her cell phone. Sky's cell phone, comma, close quote. She said, comma, holding the bag up, period. She started to open the plastic covering, comma, when Dunbar suddenly spoke up, period. New paragraph, open quote. Where did you get that from? Question mark, close quote. He asked, period. New paragraph, open quote. I found it, comma, close quote. Chase said, comma, cognizant of what Tommy had told her the night prior, period. New paragraph, open quote. She continued to rummage into the package and then pulled it out, period. New paragraph. She tried to turn it on, comma, but it was predictably dead. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. Anyone have a charger? Question mark. Close quote. She asked. Period. New paragraph. Open quote. In here, comma, close quote. Screech said, comma, gesturing toward the door that he was holding open. Period. New paragraph. Chase didn't wait for the others to react, period. She quickly walked over to the man and handed it to him, period. New paragraph. Then she stepped inside DSLH investigations. Period, new paragraph, star, new paragraph, open quote. I can have my tech guys do a more thorough job, comma, but that might take an hour or two, comma, close quote. Dunbar said, looking at his watch, period, open quote. Shit, comma, maybe even 3, comma, if the traffic's bad, period, close quote, new paragraph. That was answer enough for Chase, period, new paragraph, open quote. Do what you can, comma, see if you could pull stuff off of it, period. I imagine that if everything were deleted like with the other girls, comma, it's going to be a lost cost anyways. Cause, period, close quote, new paragraph. Cause. Dunbar nodded and then took up residence behind one of Screech's computers after asking the man permission, period. Then he plunged it in, and as he started to type away, comma, Chase turned her attention to Screech, period, new paragraph, open quote. Can I speak to you for a second? Question mark, close quote, she asked, period, new paragraph. The man was hesitant, but he nodded, period, new paragraph, open quote. We don't have a private office here, comma, not really, period, but there's a broom closet if you want to, dash, close quote, new paragraph. Chase looked around, comma, and then let her sighed, period, new paragraph. What did it matter if they heard what she had to say now, question mark. She wasn't worried about being judged by Floyd, comma, and Dunbar, ... well, Dunbar was going to think what Dunbar thought, period, new paragraph. Open quote, no, comma, that's fine, comma, close quote, Chase said, comma, lowering her voice only so as to not distract Dunbar and Floyd, comma, the latter of which was hovering over the back of his chair, period, new paragraph, open quote. What can I do for you? Question mark, close quote, Screech asked, period, new paragraph. Chase stared at him for a long time, period, new paragraph. Before speaking again, period, new paragraph, open quote. Drake, comma, I think I should reach out to Drake, period. I haven't, ... well, I haven't spoken to him in a long time, period. Close quote, new paragraph. Again, comma, something dark crossed over Screech's features, comma, confirming what Chase had suspected since coming here yesterday, colon. Things weren't as kosher as they appeared at DSLH, period, new paragraph, open quote. I think, ... I think I'd like to have a little chat with him, comma. Just want to know if you've heard of him. Do you expect him in today? Question mark, close quote, new paragraph. Screech immediately shook his head, period, new paragraph, open quote. No, comma, he's off on a case. Period, close quote, new paragraph. It sounded ambiguous, comma, phony, comma, even, comma, but Chase knew better than to call this man on it, period. When she first met Screech, comma, the man had been waif-like and timid, period, new paragraph. But as she knew firsthand, comma, people changed, comma, especially people in her business, period, new paragraph. And Chase, Screech, comma, it appeared, comma, was no exception, period, new paragraph, open quote. Immediately. When do you expect him back? Question mark, close quote, new paragraph. Screech shrugged, period, new paragraph, open quote. He's overseas right now, comma. I really don't know when you'll be back, period, close quote in paragraph. This shocked Chase, period. She was surprised that Drake was even allowed to leave the country given his past legal troubles, period, to paragraph. But then again, comma, Drake was about as apt to follow the rules as Chase was, comma, which was to say not at all, period, to paragraph, open quote. Well, if you hear from him, comma, can you let him know that I want to speak to him? Question mark, close quote. This was a bit of a cop-out, comma, Chase knew, comma, and so did Screech, comma, given how his face changed, semicolon. After all, comma, she had the man's number, and she could just call him, period, to paragraph, but something was lost in telephone conversations, comma, something important in this case, comma, something she needed to... But there was something missing in telephone conversations, comma, something that couldn't be relayed over long distances, period, to paragraph. And what she had to say to Drake, comma, she wanted to do face to face, period, to paragraph. Open quote. I will, comma, close quote, Street said, period. Chase was about to turn back to Dunbar, comma, when Screech chewed his bottom lip, comma, a suggestion that he was more to say, period, to paragraph, open quote. What is it? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph, open quote. I know you're good for it, comma, but we need the cash, period, close quote, into paragraph. Chase wasn't offended, period. In fact, comma, she much preferred this straight up approach than something confusing and laden with euphemisms, period, into paragraph, open quote. I'm sorry, comma, I knew I said I'd have it for you today, but you saw where I was sleeping, period. Didn't get a chance, period. I'll get it to you by the end of the day, period, close quote, into paragraph. Screech nodded, period, to paragraph. Now it was his turn to turn, but Chase drew him back, period, to paragraph, open quote. I'm going to stay out of your hair, comma, then, period. I told Leroy to stay home today, comma, and he's going to be... Leroy said he wanted to spend some extra time sparring at the gym, comma, and I told him to go ahead, period. But I'll be back, comma, at 5, comma, and I'd appreciate if you could have the cash then, period. Close quote in the paragraph. Chase confirmed this, comma, and resisted the urge to ask about Hannah, comma, the only member of the DSLH team that Screech has had yet to mention or even refer to, period, to paragraph. Open quote. Chase watched Screech go, comma, and then stood there for a moment longer, comma, wondering if she should just take out her cell phone and call Drake, period, to paragraph. But just as she was making up her decision, but before she could come up, forced herself to make the correct decision, comma, Dunbar suddenly swore, period, to paragraph. Unlike her, comma, Dunbar. Chase couldn't remember the last time she'd heard the detective swear, comma, which is why she immediately headed over to both him and Floyd, period, to paragraph, open quote. What? Question mark. Did you find something? Question mark, close quote, into paragraph. Dunbar leaned back from her chair and looked up at her with a sullen expression on his face, period, to paragraph, open quote. Nothing, period, close quote, into paragraph. Open quote. You didn't find anything, or there was nothing there? Question mark, close quote. Chase needed clarification on this point, period, to paragraph. Open quote. Nothing there, period. No incoming text messages. Period. This is just like the other girl's phone, comma. Somebody wipe this thing. Comma, close quote. He said angrily, period. Chase was fairly certain that had this been the man's own computer, he might have picked up the mouse that he was gripping in one hand and thrown it across the room, period, to paragraph. But as she watched, his fingers slowly relaxed and spread out, comma, before he retracted his hand all the way to the pocket of his jeans, period, to paragraph, open quote. Wait a second, comma. Wait a second, comma, close quote. Floyd suddenly said, period to paragraph. All eyes were on him now, comma. And instead of getting red-faced as he usually did, comma, he leaned over Dunbar even further and grabbed the mouse, period to paragraph. Chase followed the cursor as it moved across the screen, period. As Dunbar had suggested, comma. As Dunbar had said, comma, the inbox folder for the text messages was completely empty, period. There were no numbers, comma. New paragraph. But Floyd didn't start to her surprise, comma, Floyd didn't attempt to retrieve any more messages from the income Sky Derringer's inbox, period. Instead, comma, he navigated away from the inbox and went to her outbox, period to paragraph. Unlike the former, comma, the latter was not empty, period to paragraph, open quote. It's not wiped, comma, close quote. Chase heard herself whisper, period, open quote. The phone's not wiped, period, close quote, in the paragraph. They were all leaning so closely to the screen now that she could smell the coffee on their breaths, period, in the paragraph. With a Floyd there was only one outgoing message, comma. One message that Sky, whoever the last person to use her phone, had sent, comma, and it wasn't to a single recipient, comma, but 4, period to paragraph. And although there were no names in the to box, comma, only numbers that Chase didn't recognize, comma, she would have bet the $5,000 she owed Screech, comma, would have bet all the money in her bank account that she knew exactly who those 4 recipients were, period to paragraph. Open quote, open it, comma, close quote, Dunbar said, period, new paragraph. Chase repeated these exact words. The detective's last word, exact words, comma, only she uttered them with more immediacy, period, in paragraph. Floyd scrolled to the message, comma, double-clicked it, comma, and it popped up on screen, period, in paragraph. One single sentence, comma. The message was but a single sentence, comma. Eight words, comma, separated halfway through. Near the beginning with an M dash, period, new paragraph. 8 words, comma, that would eventually blow this case wide open, period. I had to stop to count on my fingers. What the fucking, how many words are in this sentence? I might have to go back and change that. Well, we're little Curl. We're getting somewhere. We are moving on up. Move on up. We're moving on up. This is I'm super happy with where we've gone today. We are at, I would say, 11,000 words, and it seems like I've been just flowing, just pure vibing. Maybe not being so upbeat helps the production. I'm gonna call it there though. I gotta prep for dinner. It's just man. My life is just meals and between meals at this point. But I am super happy to have spent the day with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thrilligans, appreciate all the support. Thanks again to Thrilligan Love for the tip. Thanks everyone else who paid their chat tax, which is a follow or a like or a share. I'm going to be on your ass, man. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on your ass. You better be paying your chat tax, everybody. Read a good book tonight. Watch a good show. I've been watching Killing Eve. At least I restarted to watch the 3rd season. Yeah, that should be a contest. I should do a contest. What are the 8 words? It's not that, Victoria. Hey, what's wrong with pineapple on a pizza? Actually, I'm not a fan. I don't like. Sometimes Ashley puts like fruits in a salad, cranberries or apples, and I'm like, nah. I don't like my sweet with my kind of savory. I'm not digging it. So pineapple on pizza? Hell no. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. I'll be back tomorrow. Look, I'm going to try to be the boy from the woods. Who's that by, Victoria? Yeah, so I started watching Killing Eve. I'm on the 3rd season. I just love that show, man. There's something about that Jodie Comer or whatever, the actress that plays Villeneuve, who's the antagonist. And there's something about her and her ridiculous accents and just I mean, it's just great. I love it. The boy from the woods, Victoria. Don't leave me hanging here. I'm going to have to look it up myself. Oh, it's... Look at you. Look at you reading this traditionally published megastar instead of supporting us indies. Harlan Coben. I'm hoping that more of Harlan Coben stuff makes it to Netflix. I really liked, I don't know, it's the 5 or the 6, one of those titles. The Stranger was okay, but the 5 or the 6 was good. And there was another one by Harlan Coben, like a TV series on Netflix, which I really enjoyed. I tried to watch another one, but it was in Spanish, and I was like, no, can't do it. But hopefully this makes it to Netflix as well. Guys, I'm going to log off right now. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to be here at 10 o'clock. Kids are back in school, so I will be here at 10 o'clock, and we're going to see if we can put out even more than the 11,000 words we did today. Hope you get a good time. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe, guys. I know you support indies. I was teasing you. Hey, I like to read some big names, too. I haven't read any Harlan Coben, though. I'm kind of ashamed to say. Anybody heard this one? The Cipher? Anina Guerrera? Oh, okay. This one looks good. Hold on. Don't leave me yet. This looks good right here. The Cipher. Love the cover. I love these weird, I don't know what you would call this style. Like, I don't know, Shutter or Blind. FBI. Oh, I like it. You got that one for free? How'd you get it for free? It was like a NetGalley early whatever. Hey Vanessa, you're lurking, but you're commenting and you're hitting that like button. So that's it. That you paid your chat tax. I appreciate you guys. Who's the author of this? Oh, the month's first read. How did you get into that program? Did you have to apply or something? Or is it just available for Prime? Cool. I think this is going to be a good book. Did you read it? You got it for free, so I'm assuming you haven't read it yet. I mean, it looks good. Looks good. I'm a sucker for books where they have like some sort of complicated code where the killer is like some mega ultra hyper genius and he kills people by using, I don't know, Planck's length. Who knows? I'm a sucker. You signed up because, man, I'm part of Prime. I gotta sign up for that too. All right, I'm signing off. For real this time. For real this time. You guys have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Be here. Don't forget. Pay your chat tax.